As I think we must understand a certain thing. When we discuss this subject matter, I would like to remind the audience, the most important thing is that whatever we discuss, I keep repeating this, we must discuss based on facts. If you ask me something on an issue, then you must give me the facts. You must give me the facts and figures to support your statement, because I will do the same. So we do not discuss things hearsay, but only boils down to facts and figures and statements that come from the relevant experts. In this context, we are talking about the expert is those who are in radiological matters. So if you start quoting other experts, I will have difficulty to respond. So it must be facts and figures that can be proven, and it will be and then it must come from relevant experts. The way we are going to do today is I would like to take this opportunity to run through all the elements, the frequently raised issues. Allow me to go through those points, because those are the points which are being asked over and over again. So let me go through them, and after your question and answer session, then there will be a plant tour. Okay? In the plant tour, people have asked me, can we take any photograph? You can go ahead, we got nothing to hide. That is a very important thing. We have nothing to hide. But the site today has not been handed over to me as the owner. It is under our main contractor, UGL. It's an Australian company, and they have very strict safety regulations. They have reached what, 8 million plus man hours without any lost time accident, and that is a big achievement, and it's not normal in a project of this size. So the point I'm trying to say, they are very strict with regard to safety regulations. Therefore, if you need to be on the ground, then you got to go through all your various briefing, trivia, asking questions, and then you got to be fully equipped for you to be on the ground. But whatever it is, the bus will take you around the site. The bus will stop at various locations. You can take pictures, whatever pictures you want. The fact is that if you do not impose condition, I got nothing to hide. You can take whatever picture you want to take. The only thing, if you want to come down, that complicates matter, because I do not allow you to come down because of safety regulation, that's all. But if you want again, you can come next time with not so many people, then you can go through the whole process to qualify for the visit. Okay? In fact, I always say this, the most important thing I want to say is that we have nothing to hide. We have all the documents if you want to see. I said that many times, any groups, you are welcome to the site and see it for yourself. Even when we are in operation, even when we are yet to operate, we welcome the relevant expert from any organization to do joint sampling and analysis of matters that affect whatever. You know, we do air monitoring, we do water monitoring. Now, we are doing it now. We will do it during operation. We are so open that you can come, you can bring, but must be the relevant expert to join, to do the joint sampling and analysis. What I am presenting are the false allegations by the opposition. I will go quickly through all those points. We can clarify later. Point number one, the accusation thrown at us is Lynas takes advantage. Okay. Lynas takes advantage of the weakness in Malaysian law by proposing China's standard. It is a false allegation because Lynas project is based on Malaysia law and international law, and it is not on any of the Chinese standard. Lynas never proposed to use any of the Chinese standard. And Malaysian law at times are stricter than the international law. We follow Malaysian law and international law under IAEA. Point number 2, the other allegation thrown at us was Australian law restrict construction of such plant within 35-kilometer radius of the residential area. This is false. There is no such law or even international law. So the opposition quoted 35 kilometer. It is because the nearest town to our Mount Well is where we do our mining and we have our concentration plant. That is the first part of the operation. It so happened that the small town of Leverton is located 35 kilometer away from our mining and separation plant. Therefore, this is false. Previously, they said Lynas has brought in lanthanide concentrate without license. This is again false. We did not bring any. Our intent at that time was only to bring empty containers to do trial run. In fact, even that was abandoned. Next, please. Lynas came to Malaysia to avoid strict Australian rules. I've said this many times. We came to Malaysia not because of the strict Australian rule. The most important thing we want to inform is that we have obtained the license to build this similar plant in Perth. Don't talk about the desert. Where our mine is 1,000 kilometers from Perth. Here we are talking about we have obtained the license to build a similar plant like we have today in Gebeng in Perth at an industrial area called Mina Industrial Park. So the various reports that came and say it will not be allowed to build in Australia, my answer is we will distribute to you the license that said we have obtained the license to build a plant in Mina Industrial Park outside Perth. Why we came here, ladies and gentlemen, is very simple. We came here for a number of reasons. The most important reason, as in any investment, is economic reason. I quoted a number of examples. We use 500 meter cube per hour of water. 500 meter cube of water per hour, and that, what did I say, 500 meter cube of water per hour. Here, that is big amount of water. The water we paid here is 84 Malaysia cents per meter cube. If you check in Australia way back in August last year, it's about 6 ringgit per meter cube, if you can get the water. The electricity is about 23 cents per kilowatt hour. You are comparing against 96. I'm quoting figures in August last year. And we use a lot of acid. We are talking about huge amount of acid. So, example, we use a caustic soda, which I pay for, which I get from Kemaman at only 500 ringgit per meter cube per ton. Whereas in Perth, if it's available, it is 3 times 1,500 ringgit per meter cube. So these are examples to show that we came here because of economic reason. That is the reason. The other reason we came here is because of the availability of the workforce. Lynas plant, we employ about 300 over people, of which 75 are graduates, technical graduates, ranging from bachelor's degree, master's degree. All these are in technical, engineering, chemistry, PhD. So in Malaysia, it is good because the government has planned it a long time ago, and these resources are available. Even our shop floor workers, these are diploma holders that come up from polytechnics. So that is the second reason. The third reason is Malaysia has clear rules and regulation. So before you invest in any country, you must be clear, you must be sure to have clear regulations. We do not want to invest in a place where you keep changing your goalposts. So Malaysia has clear set of regulations, and that is why we came here. Lynas was chased out of Terengganu due to environmental. Okay, what I explained just now, that is why we came to Malaysia, even we already have the license to build in Perth. Number 5, I can read this better. Okay, number 5, when we first came to Malaysia, we wanted to build the plant next to Huntsman dioxide because 70% of the process is similar to Lynas. Huntsman dioxide in Kemaman, 70% of the process is similar. Therefore, the raw material that is required for the process, what they require is the same thing like what we require. We are not talking about few lorries of acid. We are talking about the whole plant production of acid. Okay? So, when we went to Terengganu, before we can apply land to build the plant in Terengganu, we have to get approval from DOE. So we got to complete our EIA, and we already obtained the approval from DOE. We obtained the approval from AELB, the local council. When all this approval have been obtained, then we submit to the state government for our land application. It is unfortunate that the time taken to approve the land application was longer than we anticipated. Ladies and gentlemen, we cannot wait. The simple reason being, for our phase 1, when you go into the plant, there are 2 parts. You can see the plant which is ready to go, and phase 2 is under construction. For phase 1, we have sold out 100% for the next 10 years. Okay? So, we cannot delay. We cannot delay our construction. We cannot delay our production because our customers are waiting for our product. And our customers are waiting for their product. So, to expedite matters, we were advised to move to Gebeng. If you ask me, do we like to move to Gebeng? Of course not. Because when we moved, we lost another 6 months. Because you have to do the EIA, the AELB approval, the DOE approval, all has to be, you have to redo because you come to a different location. So, the question of Lynas being chased out of Terengganu is not true. At the same time, I would like to take this opportunity, before we came to Malaysia, remember we got the approval from Australia, it's not feasible, so we went to China, already bought the land in Zibo, in Chilu, Shandong province, already recruit 5 employees. Everything went good until the government changed their rule and said that, do what you want, but you cannot export without our approval. You cannot export, the quantity that you can export needs our approval. In any industry, in any investment, you do not want to invest where you are not in control of your investment. So that is why we came to Terengganu, and that is why we are in Gebeng. So I hope the answer is very clear. Number 6, Lynas is a nuclear plant. Sometimes they say it directly, sometimes they say it by inference. Okay? The fact is, you will go into the plant yourself, you go and see whether this is a nuclear plant or it is just an ordinary chemical plant. I am not bragging here, ladies and gentlemen. I've spent 31 years either building chemical plant or commissioning and operating plant, whether in Malaysia and also in Australia. I only work in chemical plant. I work in LNG plant, and all these plants, comparing Lynas plant to all the plants that I work, this is the safest, this is the simplest plant. Okay? Example, I built and commissioned the ammonia urea plant. The urea plant, ammonia plant, the pressure is 300 bar. You know the pressure. So anything that goes wrong, there will be an explosion. 300 bar is 1500 psi. When you know 1500 psi, you put in your car tire 30 psi. So you are talking about 1500 psi. It will go explode, right? So this plant, I want it to be clear. The process, I'm talking about the process proper, there is no pressure. It is at most ferric pressure. So the danger of explosion because of pressure is non-existent. Yes, we have pressure only for the boiler, 8-bar boiler to supply steam. That is about the only thing. The others, the process itself has no pressure. Point number one. Point number two, you know when you operate ammonia, urea plant and whatnot, you are talking about a reformer temperature 1000 degrees, no, to be exact, 962 degrees Celsius. Here, the temperature is ambient, like what we are, not in this room, ambient outside. So, it is ambient. So another source of explosion is, another cause of explosion is not there. Number three, the medium that we process. Like my friend, he worked in refinery, I work in refinery too, or LNG, those things can explode. Flammable? Inflammable? What's it? Flammable. Those are highly flammable material. So if you got pressure, you got temperature, you got flammable products, you are in for a potential danger. But here, they are not flammable. They are not flammable. So no pressure, no temperature, not flammable. Therefore, in the context of a chemical plant, this is the safest chemical plant. And it is not a nuclear plant, but the safest chemical plant that you can ever, in a chemical plant, when you look at these three factors, then you know whether it's dangerous or not. Okay? Lynas, the accusation that Lynas is the same as Asian rare earth. Ladies and gentlemen, Lynas is not the same as Asian rare earth because Asian rare earth raw material comes from Amman, the tin tailings. The tin tailings is 37 times. The content of the radioactive content is 37 times stronger than what Lynas is. And because we do not enrich what the raw material came in, and the residue or waste is also the same. If we came in at 6 becquerel per gram, we also go out at 6 becquerel per gram. No enrichment. But Asia rare earth, they came in at 37, they are 37 times higher, and their waste is 60 times higher. Okay? So we got here 48 times. So we are not the same because our raw material is different. Our raw material, why do we have very low level of thorium and uranium? The two elements that is the cause of radioactive. Why? Because in the mine, the location of the mine, this is the old part of the earth. So over billion of years, I am talking what the geologists tell me. I wish the geologist is here. In the old part of the earth, of the universe, you're talking like South Africa, California, China. So where the uranium and thorium has been leached over the billion of years, so leaving the rare earth by itself. So the amount of uranium and thorium is small. And the amount of uranium and thorium, our uranium and our radioactive content is so low that in our radiological impact assessment study, okay, they need to study to tell for the public, what is the public exposure? The most important thing is public exposure. How do you define public? At the perimeter of our fence. Outside our perimeter, that is public. Okay? Now, if all our equipment fails, then there will be radiation from Lynas plant. We are talking about, I said this number again, if all equipment fail, the radiological impact assessment show that our exposure, the radiation exposure caused by Lynas is 0.002 millisievert per year. You must remember, the international law and the Malaysian law say, for the public, it is 1.0. So we are 500 times lower than what the law or local law, international law say. But what does this number means? 0.002. I have to quote. You remember the old television you have at home, the box, which most people have. Not many people can still afford the flat screen. So the old television, I'll give you a simple example. When you watch that television 4 hours a night, okay, the amount of radiation you get is 10 times Lynas radiation. Do we have problem with that? We've been watching television, now I'm 55 years old, been watching television, I watch a lot, and there is no impact. So Lynas, if Lynas equipment fail, yes, there is radiation, but the radiation is so low that it is only 1/10 of the radiation you get from watching this conventional television. Okay? Later, Professor will elaborate on this. Okay, they talk about environment will be polluted because the plant is located in a swampy land with shallow water table. Okay, the answer is, it is false. The site where you are now, the Lynas original site, is actually 2 meters above the water table. So the former landowner, before we buy, they have bought the site, they have prepared and replaced it with 1.4 meter of local fill, therefore making the site where we are today 3.4 meter above the water table. They used to say we are only 1 or 0.7 meter above water table. That is false. Because originally it's only 2 meter, and then it is filled with another 1.4. The answer is, when we bought the site is 3.4 meter above the water table. Yes, it is swampy, but the site is 3.4 meter above the water table. And then when we make our storage facility, they say the storage facility, they assume, they think it's ducting type. When you dig, of course you will go near the water table. No, we build our storage facility on top of the 3.4. Therefore, the base of our storage facility now is 4.15, 4.2 meter above the water table. So our storage facility is not the duct-in type, but you build on top. I'm talking about the base. Of course, the wall is 9 meter high. The wall is 9 meter high. So the question is, how does Lynas prevent radioactive material from polluting the water? Thorium is not soluble in water. Therefore, because of this property, our process, we precipitate and separate. You are able to physically remove thorium from the process. Number 2, we have our high density polyethylene liner, which will prevent leaching. Below the liner, we have clay. This is not ordinary clay, clay where water is almost impermeable. So you'll find that, and then under the clay, we have the leak detection system. So if you look at the various protection. Last at the bottom is the leak protection, the leak detection system. On top of that is clay where the water cannot pass through. But remember, this thorium also like to stick to clay. By nature, thorium has an affinity. It doesn't. The moment it see clay, it will stick to the clay. But before it can reach the clay, we have high density polyethylene liner. So these are the various things which we talk about, 4 stages of preventing radioactive substance from going into the water system. The other thing, of course, we have with the sampling of the water quality, underground water quality is being monitored routinely by us and the authority. Again, I invite any organization to send their expert to do joint inspection. Okay, you will get all this information. Lynas will cause radioactive rain from the gas released by the stack. Okay, as I already mentioned, the amount of the release is so small that it is negligible. On top of that, we have a 5-stage gas waste treatment plant to ensure the release of the air meet the DOE requirement. You also have routine sampling by the authorities. Again, please send your expert to join our routine sampling. And Lynas bought 2 units of aerosol monitoring system. These systems are common in Europe, which have nuclear power. So this one, we install one on site, one is in the town. They are, you can log on, it is, you can log on or you can drive by, it records reading, is online, online real-time reading. So this reading will show you whether there are or there are no radioactive elements in the air. So we are very open, ladies and gentlemen. You can see the equipment for yourself, and this equipment, you can do it does real-time monitoring. We have nothing to hide. We bought this equipment. We know that there will be no radioactive element because of the plant, but we will still buy to ensure the confidence of the public. We buy an equipment just to prove the point, and it costs 1.4 million ringgit. But we still buy so that you can see for yourself. The plant used a lot of acid that can contaminate the soil. Yes, we use a lot of acid, but our acid storage facility comply to international standard, whereby they are all built on bonded secondary containment. So if there are any acid spill or the tank split, like in any international standard, the barn can contain all the spill. It will not go to the ground. Okay? Lynas did not carry out study on internal radiation exposure. This has been said many times. They said Lynas only do external radiation exposure. No. Lynas carry out RIA in accordance with international standard, and international standard demands that you carry out both external and internal exposure. We have this RIA study which we can show to you. It has been done. But the sad part, despite explaining, the same story come again and again. Okay? I'm trying to go very fast. Lynas operation will induce cancer. Let Professor speak on this one. Can you take 12:30? 12:30, 14.
Okay, thank you. Well, there was an accusation that Lynas, the activity that Lynas will carry out will cause an increase in cancer prevalence. I'd just like to share with you a Ministry of Health report in 2007, where the background reported cancer prevalence in Malaysia is actually 720 cases for 1 million population. Now, we have done a study we measured the background radiation level, i.e. without any operation, as it is right now. And based on the radiation level, which is of course in Malaysia is between about 2 millisievert per year, we found that the cases is about, we estimated it to be about 35 cases per million. This is actually spelled out in our RIA. Now, when the plant starts operation, based on what my MD have just mentioned, 0.002 millisievert per year, that will cause an increase of fatal cancer of 0.1 case per million. I would like to stress that again. Without the Lynas plant, it is 35 it is 35 cases per million. That is without just the radiation alone. Now, with the Lynas plant itself, should there be an increase, it will only be 0.1 cases per million. Now, this calculation is actually based on the International Commission for Radiological Protection, ICRP number 60, 1990. For those who are in this field, you probably can check that. The other issue was on radon and thoron. There was also an accusation that radon and thoron could travel thousands of miles. And in one instance, I remember somebody was saying that the activity that you receive, people in Kuantan, probably in Balo, will basically pierce their ears. So basically, for those who are interested in getting free ear piercing, you can just stand around our plant and you can get it for free. But in actual fact, just to share with you, that we have actually calculated using our RIA, radiological impact assessment. Now again, I must stress, when we do our radiological impact assessment, it is based on, of course, identifying what is the actual activity and the radiation level that we're dealing with. Number two, we have to identify the sensitive receptors and the mode and the pathways involved, in which how they will get into the, or will affect the population or the receptors. And number three, we also have to work on the worst case scenario. Now in this case, for our radon and thoron, we assume that none of our scrubber system, the emission from the stack, is working. And based on that, we calculated the dose to be for radon is 0.00002 millisievert per year, while thoron it is 0.002 millisievert. Now again, I'd like to point the fact that the maximum permissible dose limit allowed for members of the public is 1 millisievert per year. And we are talking about, in the case of thoron, is 0.002 millisievert per year. There was also an accusation that there is no safe level of radioactivity. Now that is absolutely not true. As you know, we are living in an environment that is surrounded by radiation. Radioactivity is ubiquitous, it's everywhere. And if there is some time, I will probably demonstrate to you where you can actually find it. And I'll share with you some of the minerals that I bought from Perak, which has been processing amang for more than 20 years. And I'll show you the amount of radioactivity that we're dealing with. But of course, if you all know for the fact, I think you just cut on the internet, you'll discover that our body itself also contains radiation. You fly on the plane, you got radiation. You watch, as I said, basically even in this room you have radiation. You are coming from the wall, from the granites and so on and so forth. So the issue of there is no such thing as there's no level of radioactivity safe is not true whatsoever. I would like to share with you that the level that we have right now, the 6 becquerel per gram, is actually similar to, or in a place called the sand beach of Kerala, India. If you get a chance to go to Kerala, India, you go to the beach sand of Kerala, India, the activity concentration is equal to or higher than 6 becquerel per gram, which is of course what we expect to see in our residues and the concentrate that we bring in. The other thing I also like to point out is that even the workers, or we members of the public, is allowed to receive 1 millisievert per year. But workers, employees or radiation workers are allowed to receive 20 millisievert per year. So if that is the level set or limit set by the regulatory body and the international community, then I think the case saying that there is no safe level of radiation is therefore not true. Thank you.
The other thing they said, Lynas brings no benefit to Malaysia and Kuantan. This is a sad part because the total FDI for this project is 2.5 billion. and our operating cost when we operate will be about 600 million per year. For the first phase, where we spent 1.5 billion, I would like to say that 500 over million has been spent for the people, for the contractors in Kuantan. Of course, the other benefit is employment. We talk about 350 people, technical people. We also have contract staff. All in all, it will support about 1,000 people. But you must also note that because we consume huge amount of acids and chemicals, so the plant, our supplier have to build a new plant for us. So again, there is another investment of about 250 million ringgit, employing about maybe 100 to 200 people. So because of Lynas, our supplier, that it creates another investment from the suppliers. And of course, our customers then, there is a strong possibility that they will buy our product. Example, when I was used to say that we have a joint venture with Siemens, and the fact that they wanted to do a joint venture with us, it proved that they have audited all our process, and they know that we are, for them to do a joint venture, they know that we comply to the international environmental standards. And so are our major international customers. So major international customers will only do a deal with any company that comply to environmental international standard. There was talk that the residue will be stored permanently on site. No, that is not true. You will see that we have a residue storage facility, even though the design and construction follow that allow it to be stored permanently, but the storage will only be temporary. The interesting thing is this one we got to explain clearly. Lynas produced 32,000 ton of WLP at 0.165% of thorium. That is for phase 1. When phase 2 start up, the entire WLP production is 64,000 metric ton of WLP. So there is this opposition group that what they did was they take 64,000 metric ton, they multiply with the figure we gave them, that is 0.165% of thorium, and they say that therefore Lynas produce 100 ton of thorium per year. That is not correct, because we do not enrich. When you talk on the subject of radioactivity, you talk about concentration. I've told some of the press to let them understand. If I take a bottle of mineral water, I put a spoonful of sugar, then there is that level of sweetness. If I repeat that the same in another bottle, do the same, therefore the sweetness in bottle 1 is the same as in bottle 2. If I were to repeat with 10 bottles, therefore the sweetness in each bottle is the same. Now, I take the 10 bottle, I empty it into a pail. The sweetness in the pail, even though the volume now is 10 times, but the sweetness is still the same. Therefore, in the context of Lynas WLP residue, it is not the volume you are talking about, it is the concentration, because we do not concentrate. The allegation that we produce 100 ton of thorium is therefore wrong. It's just like just now. If I put one spoonful of sugar in each bottle, and I pour all this bottle, the 10 bottle in the pail, the sweetness is the same. You cannot say that, there you are, I have 10 spoons of sugar. No. Because it is all evenly spread. That is how certain group try to frighten people. Okay? Okay, I'll try to come as fast as possible. Lynas declared the residue as non-radioactive based on China's standard of 74 becquerel per gram. This is wrong, false accusation. From the beginning, Lynas has declared to the authority that its raw material and residue contain low-level, naturally occurring radionuclides. and we comply only to Malaysia and international standard. Australia require waste to be returned to mine. This is false. If you go to Western Australia, to Perth, there's a plant there which process all these minerals. They just store their waste behind the plant, and their waste is 15 times stronger. It is there. They've been operating the plant for the last 20 years, and there is no problem at all. So please go and visit such plants to make a comparison. Accusation number 20, Lynas Malaysia is managed by Australian. This is completely false. Lynas Malaysia is fully manned by Malaysians. And we have 4 rare earth experts from China and 1 from India. These people got many years of 20 years. They are here. Robin is here. They have a 20 years experience, do nothing but operate rare earth plant. So we have the experts from China, from India, and we also have technical service agreement with a French company that has been operating rare earth plants since 1960s. So we have technical service agreement. They have plant in France, they have plant in China. So we got French people outside here, and we also got the Chinese employees from China to complement what we have. Therefore, this accusation is false. Of course, when we say, oh, run by Malaysian, then the next question, are the Malaysians qualified? Ladies and gentlemen, all my supervisor and manager and above, these all come from oil and gas industry. We take them from the various industries around here, and some of them have been working in Middle East, in South Africa, and we brought them back. So these are very experienced employees. They are the only fresh are the fresh graduates and some operators, but they are supported by very experienced employees from the oil and gas industry. There was also an issue that ExxonMobil withdrew resin supply on the ground of standard engineering. This is false. I will explain this way. When the tank was built, we awarded a contract to put the lining to a local company. Okay? To a local company. And is from our interpretation, the local company is to go and find the coating that meets the purpose. You know, like if you buy a car, you say, okay, fit 4 tires. You can buy Dunlop tire, you can buy Michelin, you can buy whatever, so long it meets the purpose. So this company go and get the coatings from ExxonMobil, and the ExxonMobil said that for you to apply this, the tank must be dry. If it is not dry, if it is damp, then they will not give the guarantee. So there was the dispute between us and the contractor. We do not know ExxonMobil, we only know the contractor, whose job to dry. Okay? And then the contractor talk about, oh, there are defects in the tank, which the owner must make good. You see, I have been building plants, just like you build your house. When you pour concrete, that is the normal defects, the normal common minor defects. Defects like hairline crack, defects like honeycomb. You know, when you pour concrete, if you pour concrete in one go, then you get uniformity. But you know, after you pour concrete, then you got your next batch, so there is separation, and all these things are minor defects which are common when you do your concrete civil work. So the remedy is that all you got to do is normal rectification. You got to fill up with the filler, with the plaster, because these are normal defects, normal minor defects. And this, we build our tank according to BS British standard, and the tank are verified by expert, the consultant civil engineer. So the consultant civil engineer also said that these are not normal minor defects. Like you build your house. If you pour in one go, you pull out your formwork. If it's perfect, you can paint. Tell me a house where after you remove the formwork, you can paint. No. There will be minor cracks. There will be honeycomb. There will be some porosity. So what do? You fill it up. So sometimes things have been exaggerated. So because of the dispute, who do the drying, who do the repair, then we go to, it's a business decision, we go to another contractor who has 20 years experience doing this, and the contractor go and find another lining material from an international company, a very well-known name, and this contractor said, okay, I will do all this work. These are the normal work. So it is purely a business decision. Okay? Now, recently there was a claim, 14 out of the 19 pipe networks leaks. You see, this is our fire water line. When you install piping, when you install piping in the plant, that is why you have the so-called hydro test. Why do you test? You want to identify the leak, rectify the leak. In this case, it's our fire water line. Yes, we got to test according to the international practice, according to the international standard. When there are leaks, what is your job? Your job is to rectify the leak. When everything is settled, then only you call the authorities, bomba, to come and test. You cannot call them to come and test and it leaks. That will be a waste of their time. So these are normal things that you do in a chemical plant. You do your hydro test your piping, you hydro test your vessels which have to be under pressure. But in this case, we don't have pressure vessels. So these are normal things. And the worst one, they took the last one was Professor Ismail Bahari, my radiological advisor. They said that it's a conflict of interest because he was a board member of ALB. The answer is, he was only a board member, he only attended one meeting. And that meeting did not discuss Lynas, and because he wanted to join, he resigned. He resigned from the board. Okay? But people can turn all sorts of story. Yes, he was recently appointed board member, and he only managed to attend. Yeah, you ask him inside. Okay, the last page is it is not a complaint, just an update what we are doing with our WLP residue. Remember, we have 3 residue. Only the WLP residue has traces of radioactive. Under international law, this is called very low level waste. Okay, very low level waste, radioactive waste. Of course, you see in some press report, they say, oh no, it is not very low level, but low level radioactive waste, because that is under UK standard. But we follow international standard. It is called very low level radioactive waste. In our context, we do not want to call waste, we want to call residue, because there is an opportunity for us to make money. We have been working with various research and development organizations in Australia, England, and Malaysia, and our objective is to find commercial application. We have successfully, you see, anything above 1 becquerel per gram is considered as radioactive material. It is under the control of AELB. If you come below 1, it's no more under their control. They are just like the earth in your garden. So what we have done, we have successfully found a way to bring it below 1 becquerel per gram, and we have found a way to make it non-leachable and non-toxic. Okay, we have found that. But we cannot go and present our research to the authorities because we have spent a lot of money on research, but the research is based on waste that was produced in the pilot plant, in the laboratory. We produce the waste in the laboratory with all the parameters which will be like the waste that will come out when we are in actual operation. So, but we cannot go to the authorities until the actual waste come out. So we will use it for, we will commercialize it, it will generate income. Okay? So that is where we are with regard to our waste.